We're back here on campus at Coosa Christian High School with head coach Mark O'Bryant. And coach, it's been a long journey since you took over here, and we talked to the players a little bit about that. What's that journey been like for you personally, and the vision you had to see what you inherited here at Coosa Christian to what it is today?
It's been tough. It's been fun. It's been challenging. It's been rewarding. Just to be honest with you, Bo, I didn't know, if we could save it. We took this deal. We just put our best foot forward, worked hard, and did everything we could do, to make it happen.
Now, when you got here, the program was running on fumes. At one point, you were down to 10 players?
Yep.
10 varsity players.
Yep.
How many guys is here now playing football for you?
40-something.
40-something. You've had facility upgrades.
Yep.
You've had nutrition upgrades, coaching upgrades, 2 charter buses, multiple uniform combos. Out of all that, which I just mentioned, what's been the most difficult?
The one thing we still ain't overcome is a culture. That's always the most difficult thing to bring forth is a great culture. I believe the culture's growing, but it's not close.
What people don't fail to realize in a lot of, coaches nowadays in every sport, first thing they say is, I got to change the culture. I got to change the culture. What people don't realize is that culture ain't just in these walls. Mm-hmm. It has to go through the school.
Mm-hmm. And in, the alum, that is so important in building a program, is having a solid alum that's supporting the program. And, you could count on 3 fingers on who was willing to help us when we took this. You're talking about a 50-year-old school, and there's no help. There's maybe, 3 people or so that would be willing to help. And I'm not talking about Amanda with being the principal. That's by default. She's going to help, right? I'm talking about people that's not associated with the school that went to the school. We may have had 2 or 3 people at best. And it's really, really difficult. It's hard. And it's still not right. It's getting better. It's just not right.
When you got here, and this is no shot at who's before, who's here, Coosa was looked at a lot of times as a homecoming game. We're going to schedule them for homecoming. And a lot of times people did schedule for homecoming. And you seen just the mindset of Coosa was not what it is today. It was just totally different. Entrenched. How hard is that for young coaches or new coaches to get that mindset, which is what controls everything else? If the mindset's not there first, the body's not going to follow. How hard was it to get the, let's quote unquote, lovable losers mindset out of these guys?
That really wasn't that difficult because we started building the program with 7th graders when I came here.
They didn't know no better.
they didn't know any better, man. They didn't a lot of these kids, they never even heard of Coosa when they transferred over here in 7th grade, and so that in itself, I think helped with the process for sure. And then you had some kids that were here, like a John David, he's a winner at heart.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his dad's a winner, his mama's a winner, his brother's a winner, and so that helped. But all of that stuff is very, very overcomable. Again, the hardest thing is that culture. It's so difficult. Chris Yeager told me, as you know, he's the head coach of Mount Brook. Good friend of mine, love him to death. He said it took him 5 years at Mount Brook to get it right.
Mm.
5 years at Mount Brook. Out of all the success they've ever had, it took him 5 years.
Yeah, that's saying something, because you're talking about a school that has over 170 state championships.
That's right.
Not in football, but I mean,
Yeah, that's right.
overall.
Yep.
So that you wouldn't think that you'd have to deal with that there, but you do.
He does. Yep.
That's incredible to even know that.
Yep.
Now, speaking of Chris Yeager,
Yep.
you got a lot of guys you can kind of lean on and talk to.
Mm-hmm.
Between John Gross, Rush,
Mm-hmm.
Chris Yeager,
Yep.
Graham, Coach Graham.
Yep. Same way.
How much has that helped you in this situation?
Uh,
Now, you've been a head coach before, but I don't know if you've ever taken on anything like this.
Well, John's like a brother. Okay, so our relationship, me and John's relationship, is completely different than even Sam. I guess you could say he's like a brother. So it's different, right? So like, I would call John. John and I talk all the time. So John knows Mark's problems, and Mark knows John's problems, right? So, John would always give me advice when I gave him an issue on the phone. Okay, but I don't necessarily, and of course Rush is he's just full of wisdom. So, anytime I've got a question, I will call Rush, and so, but like, I think the biggest thing that was the greatest help to me was me being with those guys in the past. I saw how John did it, and John saw how Rush did it. And I think that established that framework, that base. So to me, it was not as difficult. It was just the hardest thing is not getting the program going, it's getting the support outside these walls backing you. Because that's a hard sell, because you're doing something radically different from anyone that they're accustomed to seeing. And so it ruffles feathers along the line, And so that was the hardest thing, I believe.
Now, what you just mentioned makes a lot of sense, because I've seen this process since you've been here. My daughter attends school here, so I've seen it from the grassroots to what it is now. You've had some battles with some entrenched mindsets and things, but you've withstood those battles. Don't you think, or do you feel you've gotten a lot stronger on that side of I guess you could call it quote unquote politicking side of this thing, coming out the other side of it?
Well, as you know, Bo, I'm not much of a politician. So, I think the greatest asset, of course, has been Jason Ellen and Jack and Amanda. Okay. But I think, life is about leverage. Okay. Any business deal, if you don't have any leverage, you're done. Okay. And so the leverage I've got here, now I hate to even use it as these phrases, right? But like the leverage I got here is they don't pay me. And so it's pretty easy for me. I'm going to do it my way, or I'm going home. And that's the beauty of that leverage. Now, the con of that leverage is they don't pay you. So you got to find other means to make your money, which I do. I'm blessed, to own some businesses. And I think that's key, and that's what a lot of young coaches, I think, doesn't get, and I didn't get it when I first got into this deal. You'll see young coaches just go get a job, and a lot of times it's not the right fit. They don't understand a right fit. They don't know what that looks like. People would always tell me, you got to wait for the right fit. You got to wait for the right fit. I didn't understand what that meant. I understand it now. It's about leverage. If you're ever interviewing for a football, baseball, or basketball job, and that administrator is not willing to give you leverage, okay, real leverage, that's a job you don't want. You're not going to turn it around because they're entrenched, and the entrenchment is what's got them to be Loserville. And so, and that's my best advice for any young coach. Any job you ever interview and there's no leverage there, if you don't have any leverage, don't take that job. You're going to be fired in 3 years. That's what's going to happen.
It's not going to turn around. And
It's not going to turn around.
And when it does start to turn around, you're going to be fighting some battles you didn't know.
That's right. That's exactly right.
All right.
Yeah.
So we kind of talked about the mindset and the state of the program right now from the outside these walls. Now let's talk about it inside these walls, and what kind of team we're looking at this year. It's a big difference when you come in hunting or being hunted. This year there ain't no soft way to put it, and I know it's all media talk, but you guys have circled on a lot of people's calendars. You went from homecoming lovable losers to, hey, we're going to have to get past these guys if we want to do blank. So how's your approach to that?
Well, I didn't even realize that, you know.
Well, it's true. Whether you want it or not, the
Yeah.
expectations are starting to creep in now.
So I don't approach it any different. You know, like I've always been a believer in you get up, you go to work, you do your job, you work till 10:30 at night, you go home, you sleep, you repeat 7 days a week. And so my approach has always been the same when we were horrible, as you know. When we were horrible, I was still doing the same thing. I tell this story. I think I told the media day. You know, I do. I'm the most routine guy you've probably ever interviewed. You know, from drinking Monsters at the same time to eating at the same time to the way I bathe, the way I brush my teeth. Everything is the same for me every single day of the week, and I don't change. I just don't change. And so, all of that hunter stuff, I don't know anything about all that. All I know is if we work the dog out of these kids and we hold them accountable, then we should get a desired effect we choose to get.
Yeah.
That's it.
You don't gauge wins and losses as successful either.
Nope.
What do you think this team's going to be gauged on?
I hope they're gauged on achieving their maximum ability as a team, the best it can achieve. And I don't know what that looks like, Bo. I don't know if that's not making the playoffs, making third round, making the finals. I don't care about all that. I've never worried about the Duchess.
All right, Coach. So last season you lost a few key components of your offense. Obviously, you graduated. You know, Matthew Wright being one that anchored the line. Also, you lost Jacoby Tucker, who was your guy on the edge, so to speak, and you lost the 1,500-yard rusher. 2,000-yard rusher, and John Mostella. Those are big losses, but you got some new faces around here.
Mm-hmm.
Diving into the X's and O's and Jimmys and Joes now. Talk about some of these new faces and what this new offense is.
Yeah, we lost Dylan Reed, who was a good help to us on the up front as well. But so we lost. I believe it's 4, and I hope I'm not misspeaking there. But we lost 4, but we've gained. We've had several kids to move in over here, and Bo, I really like the talent of this team. I don't like the chemistry of this team yet. The chemistry ain't right yet. And I tell these kids every day, we're a lot more talented than last year's team, no doubt. Okay, but the chemistry ain't right, Bo. And sometimes when you have kids to transfer in, they want to bring their culture into the culture I'm trying to build, and sometimes it don't mix so well, so you have to beat it out of them basically, and that's kind of where we're at. We're not right now, and I hate to say that on camera, but it's just the chemistry's not right now.
Not there.
It's not there yet.
One huge component that I think any coach would take any day of the week is to have a steady, calm leader under center or in the gun in this case, maybe under center sometimes. But you have a great leader in John David, who's now going to be his first year as an upperclassman.
Yep.
What's it like having that steady guy pulling the trigger for you, so to speak?
It's definitely a breath of fresh air because, a lot of people don't realize, he's going on his 4th year as a starter. Think about that,
Wow.
right?
Just now becoming an upper class.
And he's just now becoming a junior.
Wow.
So, so he started in 8th, started in 9th, started in 10th. So this will be his 4th year as a starter. So, that's a lot, And John David is incredibly cool and calm. Like, you can ream him out, and it's just like, not even getting into this guy's head. You don't even realize, like, he's just nonchalant, which is a cool thing,
Yeah.
He's got ice in his veins, so to speak, right? But, you sit there and say, is he listening to me? Because it's like he's just staring at me saying, yes, sir. Is he just saying that to shut me up, or is he saying that because he's processing it? But he's saying it because he's processing it. You just can't rattle him. And it shows on the baseball field. He's really, really, really talented in baseball. And it's very, very difficult to strike him out. And you show me a guy that's hard to strike out, and I'll show you a clutch guy, So
He's also come in some situations he had to pitch his way out of some
absolutely
jams, and he did really well.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be clutch in those.
He's a very clutch kid.
If you're not a gamer, you'll crumble in those situations. All right. So then when you flip this thing around, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Matthew played some on the line, Dylan played some on the line. But outside of that, not only do you have your whole entire defense intact, you've got more ammunition with some guys who's moved in. And also, at the last I seen, you don't have a guy that runs over a 5-flat on the defense across the board.
Yeah, I believe that's right.
They're all in the 4s. Big cry from when you first took over here. Talk about the defensive side of the ball.
Well, I may have had one guy under a 5-flat when I took over, and that was Evan. And I'm really not even being facetious. I'm being, I think, pretty legit right there. They may have been, I'm thinking back on that, they may have been 2 guys that was under a 5-flat. So that should be our strength. Offensively, during scrimmage, we're struggling to move the ball against Teddy's defense. It's been very frustrating for me, and it's very frustrating for offensive coaches, for sure. And it, so I told Teddy yesterday, I mean, like, we're struggling in first downs, And I told Teddy, I said, Teddy, this defense is really fast because, we can outflank them, and they zero in on us pretty fast. So I think that is the strength of this team, is definitely the linebackers. This linebacker group is as good as I've had since Oxford. There ain't no doubt. I mean, this linebacker group's that good.
Cleat will be playing kind of a rover position. He'll come up, he'll go back some different places. But talk about Eli Moats right there in the middle, and how he's come along, and the difference in what he looks like now.
He's a grown man. He's a big kid.
He'll be here 2 more years, right?
Yeah, 2 more years. Yeah, he's a grown man. He's 6'3", 210, 250. I don't know how big he is. 210, 215, whatever he is. And he can run. And you got DJ Mackey, who's probably the best athlete of the linebackers, if not him, Cade Meckler. All right, and all those guys are long. All of them are 6'2", 6'3", 190, 200, 210, and all of them can run. I mean,
all can crack too.
The slowest one I think of that bunch is is Eli, and I think he's a 4.79 guy. I believe that's right.
Yeah.
So he's the slowest of those slow linebackers, and they're all long and they can run, and that helps tremendously.
And secondary, everybody's intact.
Other than Jacoby.
Yeah.
We lost Jacoby.
Yeah.
Which is a huge loss now.
Yeah, it is.
Matthew Wright was a huge loss. Jacoby's huge. All this Drake Albury, big loss. Because you got to remember, bro, we had 3 All-Staters on that team now.
Yeah.
We should have had 4. Our kicker should have made All-State.
I agree with that.
And he got, in my opinion, he got hosed.
Yeah.
All right. But we should have 4 All-Staters. But we lost, out of those 3 All-Staters, we lost 2 of them.
Yeah. There's some guys that you definitely had lost.
It's hard to replace an All-State kid, right?
Yeah.
I don't care how good that next guy coming in, and he's very talented. The guy in front of him was All-State. He was over him last year.
Yeah.
And so you're going to take a step back performance-wise just off of that fact.
What? You speak about your kicker. That's my next point. Your special teams. Talk about the special teams in general. So he also doubles as your punter.
Mm-hmm.
But now he's been starting since his 7th or 8th grade, I believe.
That I don't know.
I believe he started.
I know
he started as an underclassman for sure.
Well, he transferred over to me. When did he transfer over?
2 years ago.
2 years ago. He played last year for the first year.
Yeah.
So I'm not really for sure on the date.
And I remember he had some big kicks early in his career, even when he was there. And then when we came over here last year, he had some monstrous kicks.
When everybody looks at the late field goals against Spring Garden, Pickens County, but to me, as nice and pretty as that was, his greatest attribute is punting.
Yeah.
He can just.
The year before, y'all averaged like 15, 20 yards a punt.
Yeah, and he's well over doubling that.
Yeah.
And the thing is, he can control it, wherever he wants to control it. And it's a game changer offensively when you talk about field position change, because the statistics say in high school football, if a drive is over 7 plays, he's not going to score.
Mm-hmm.
That's the statistics of it. Okay? And so when you're talking about punt from your 20 and you're kicking to their 20, and you don't allow big plays, chances are they're not going to.
They got to methodically work that defense down the field.
Yeah, they're not going to score, and it changes the game.
Yeah.
And I think that's the part that's not measured.
Yeah, he's dynamic in that.
Mm-hmm.
His kickoffs are well as well, but he's clutch in the field goal position.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Who we're going to have? Who should we expect back returning kicks this year?
I don't know yet.
Ain't nobody worked their way through that yet.
No, we're still working.
Separating themselves.
No, because with all due fairness, we've only been really working on special teams since we put on pads. And of course I lost 2 days of practice. That's another discussion for sure. So we didn't start practice until Friday.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Before we shut it down, because I know y'all got practice today, what is your overall thoughts on this year's team? I know you said you don't like where the chemistry is at the moment.
No, I don't.
But you do like some of the new faces.
I do.
You do like the work ethic. So what's your overall thoughts on this team coming up?
I guess the greatest question would be, what could be?
Yeah.
It could be bad. It could be good.
Yeah.
It could be somewhere in between, you
Gotcha.
know. But the beauty of that question is what could be. At least you have 3 options. Sometimes you only got 1 option,
Mm-hmm.
and it could be worse.
Mm-hmm.
When we took this deal, there wasn't no 3 options. You was just hoping to win a ball game, maybe 2 ball games.
Yeah.
So I think just what could be.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Final question is, next Thursday,
Mm.
you guys are hosting this huge jamboree with Hanley, Albertville,
Yeah.
yourself, and Pell City. What do you got to get done as a coach between now and then to get these guys ready to go out, because the bullets are flying next? You got a 7A, a 4A powerhouse, arguably the greatest coach in high school history, bringing his team up here on this campus. What's got to be done between now and then? And I know we're talking about a short time.
Yeah, so what's that, 9 days? What I'd like to do is to build some chemistry. I don't even care if we score a touchdown this jamboree. What I'd like to see is us do some good things offensively and maybe not give up the big play defensively.
Mm.
Now, if we can get those 2 in balance, I think we're trending right. But if we're not getting first downs in the jamboree and we're giving up a lot of big plays in the jamboree, it's not good, Bo.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's not good.
You definitely don't want that look to start out with,
No,
because
no.
the next week, not putting the cart behind the horse, it's going to count, and you're playing a juggernaut.
I'm playing a juggernaut.
A 3A
for sure,
powerhouse.
for sure. And this is one of the reasons why we chose to do this route. It was to try to prep for some of these bigger teams like Geraldine and Heritage Academy, just to get us ready. And the reason why we played Geraldine and Heritage Academy is to get us ready for region play.
Mm-hmm.
So the jamboree was for the Heritage Academy Geraldine Heritage Academies for the jamboree, for the region. So it all works off of one another's back.
Right. Well, Coach, I'm going to let you get back to it. I know you've got a busy day ahead of you. Appreciate you sitting in, and we want to thank our sponsors on this. We're going to definitely Want to post them and thank them from Alpha Insurance, Jason Allen and Company, and Bo for their contribution to this video. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bill.
All right, we're on campus here at Coosa Christian School with these fine gentlemen right here on the eve of their season. This is their preseason video that we do each and every year for certain teams. And now, with that being said, we're going to kick this thing over to these young men to let them introduce themselves, starting over here to our right.
Dre Dupree, defensive back, senior. Eli Moats, junior, athlete.
John David Justice, junior, quarterback.
DJ Mackey, junior, athlete. Cleto O'Brien, junior, linebacker.
Now, you guys have all been here through the Coach O'Bryant trials, so to speak, since Coach O'Bryant has taken over here at Coosa. It's one of the main reasons you guys are in this room right now. Also, you guys are looked at as leaders on this team. From each one of you guys' words, and I know it's going to be different from each one of you's point of view, how different is it right now than day one that you met Coach O'Bryant here and his vision for this program? We'll start back here with Dupree.
I would say the effort's different. Everybody's trying to give it all they got. I say everybody's like, there's more people coming in and they're trying to buy into the program.
I'd say a lot of things are different. The campus is different. Everybody's mentality is different. Everything we do around here is different. We work harder and everything.
Bigger team, everything else is bigger, and we're not as close with it. We was just coached different back then. I mean, because we wasn't as good as we wanted to be. We've changed it, and I think we're more player-led than ever.
Cleet, starting right back here with you, from a standpoint of weight room mentality and discipline and everything, how much different is the weight room, in your opinion, than when you guys first took over here?
We're so much stronger. It's unbelievable. Like before, maybe 3 years ago, I don't think we had anyone benching above 225. Now we got about I think 20 people doing it.
That's incredible.
So,
DJ, a question to you, simple question for you. When you guys take the field now, mentality, mindset-wise, how much different is it now than when we first started this?
way different. Most people used to be scared to step on the field because they would think we would lose. And now most people would think they would beat them. We compete with them and be more physical.
No doubt. And John David, you're obviously looked at as the leader, the quarterback of the team. You do a whole lot vocally, also with your play. You just leadership, which is kind of in your bloodstream. Your dad and your mother are great leaders as well as your brother was, and he's actually helping out here. When you get that kind of title put on your shoulders, and your peers look at you as a leader and look to you win games, describe what that's like.
I guess I've just always been used to it. I never really think about it that way. I guess it just comes natural, and I just
You don't ever become a burden to you, or you just let it slide?
not really.
I got you. Moats, you've done a lot of transformation yourself, like both physically and as a leader. What's your biggest transition, you think, since day one when you started here?
Becoming a leader and showing the little dudes how to do it and how to be that guy.
I love it. And Dupree, you're starting in the secondary, and you did last year, and you guys had a grueling schedule last year that tested you each and every week. But at the end of the season, you guys had peaked, and you guys were playing great football and was literally inches away from playing for a state championship. How much more confidence do you have in this season coming up than you did last year when you started?
Honestly, I have a lot more confidence because the guys listen to me now because I'm a senior now, and they all look up to me and expect me to know what's going on and everything. So
I like
it's
it.
a lot of confidence.
I'm going to ask each one of you guys the same question. Again, we'll start right back here with Dupree. Next week, you guys are going to host a jamboree, and you're going to be hosting Handley, who's always a perennial 4A, either state champ or in the conversation. Pell City with one of arguably the greatest high school coach ever. And Albertville, a 7A school right here in our backyard, just 30, 40 miles from us. Would you ever envision when you got here to Coosa Christian that you'd be hosting that kind of teams here on this campus, being a 1A school?
I had no clue, really. I wasn't expecting it, but it's just gonna make us better. So that's what we're doing it for. So yeah. I'm just learning how to trust the process and preparing for whatever comes our way. So.
Faceless opponent kind of.
Before Coach O was here, we always just played garbage teams. I never really thought we would
Yeah.
actually have to play someone good, but ever since that we scheduled Gatlinburg-Pittman, I kind of saw what was coming up.
Gotcha.
I knew that we was gonna play bigger teams because Coach O always tried to make us play better teams than we used to be last year when he first came here. Yeah, I already knew this was happening. So,
You know, because you're in the same household.
yeah, I know what goes on.
Yeah. Cleet, I'm gonna start back with you. I don't know what it was, but I seen it with my own two eyes last year. Something happened halfway through that Gatlinburg game, and everything clicked. I don't know what it was. I can't explain it. And it happened, you know, you guys got down early up there, but halfway through that game, something clicked. And from that moment on, those guys started going out, getting carried off the field. And y'all started rolling, and that momentum took you all the way to literally inches from the state championship. What do you think happened in that game, in your words?
I think we finally just started becoming a team. Like, we actually truly cared for each other. We would do anything for each other to win. And yeah, that's what I think happened.
Yeah, to piggyback off what he said, I think that we all just gelled in the middle, and since we knew that we could compete with a team that's better than almost any team in 1A, we thought we could beat anybody.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Gatlinburg was crazy. They had 6 D1 players, and we started moving the ball down the field, putting pressure on all of them, and we realized we weren't bad. We got confidence and just kept it on.
I thought that we were being way more physical than they were, and we just kept hitting them in the mouth. It would come our way.
Low key, we all gelled together, like Mackie said, but the effort came and we fought around, got to the ball everywhere we went. We didn't stop moving, so we knew we could play with them.
All right, I'm going to ask you guys another question. I know you guys got practice. I got to get you out of here. Personally, what's Drake Dupree number one focus on making this team better from a personal standpoint this year?
Really communicating and helping each other out, building each other's character back together. We fell off a little bit, but we're going to get back on the right track.
Just making my team the best it can be, and doing whatever I can to do.
I think being able to get this team locked in and focused before every practice, every game is my main goal.
To help us be better than we were last year and to get back to where we used to be. Just to have everyone on the same page, so all play together, so we'll all be the same.
Gotcha. Guys, I know it's day to practice, so I'm not going to hold you in here forever. I'm sure you want to get back to film study with Coach Teddy Whitmire or whoever you're doing it with. Thank you guys for sitting in with us. We'll have this video up in a couple of days. Thank you.